Dude, you should try to.
Well, it is Sunday morning, and we just went to breakfast, and Billy over there, I don't know, his chocolate chip pancakes, man, are giving him some god-awful gas. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible for him. But we have a couple projects to do here this morning. This is the one that I was talking about, the front caster. I said spindle. I think some of you guys thought I meant the deck spindles, but I meant these casters. But see this thing going back and forth? This thing is shot. The bearings in there are shot. So we got new bearings, but I bought 2 sets. I bought bearing seals and races. We're just going to do both sides. While we're doing one, we're going to do the other one. And in this box here is the BEAD blaster that I ordered, and this is the attachment, a whole separate attachment that goes for the BEAD blaster. So we're going to put that sucker together today too, which shouldn't take very much to do it. But anyway, this is the main project for the day, so we can get this mower back up and running so we can, we already got the walker fixed. If you guys been following along, the Toro is still down. We haven't even had time to mess with that yet. The right works perfectly fine, and the 2 Skag V-Rides 1 and 2 are both working fine. So right now, the only thing down is the Toro and this because of these. So we're gonna get this taken care of today.
I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
So you can see when I move this back and forth. I mean, it's supposed to spin round, but it's going. That thing's roached.
That whole thing's fucking bad.
Yeah, it is. It's not good. Well, that could pose a new problem because this whole shaft is bent. And usually they are straight on. Unless they're designed like that for a reason on this mower, I don't believe so. We can pop that side off and find out. But usually those go straight and they're not bent like that. But that's solid steel. It'd take an awful lot to bend that thing. So we're gonna pull the other one off and see. Okay, so this one's bent too, but not as bad as that. That one's bent a lot more than this one. So I don't know. I'm thinking that it's not supposed to be like that. I mean, because that one's definitely bent, but not nearly as bad as that one is. That could be a problem. It really blows my mind, though, that this solid steel shaft would bend, but it wouldn't break the weld right here instead. You would think it would break that weld first. It's really odd to me. None of the welds are broke anywhere.
Now it is.
Okay, so this is our plan. I did look them up online and they are supposed to be straight. So this one is the one that's bent the worst, and the bend is right in here. So this, boys and girls, is called a heat induction tool. They are way safer and way faster than using a torch, which is what I always used to do. I was, hold this, Billy. I was actually introduced to this tool by Spencer Lilly from the Bow Enterprises channel. And it has, I fell in love with this thing the first time I saw it. So I had to have one. They are not cheap, but they are pretty friggin' awesome. So we're gonna use this to heat that up. And then we're gonna use this piece of pipe, rat chair, to see if we can't bend this back. Now, if it gets already checked, there's no cracks or anything in it, but if we bend it back and it gets to the point where I see that's just weakening it or going to make it worse, then we're just gonna junk this. We're gonna steal the ones off the Toro Grandstand for now, because they're the same part number, and we are going to just order new ones. So get this down there to whereabouts that bend is, and once you get on there, you press the button and it'll start smoking here in a second, but it will heat that sucker right up. And the funny thing is, when it heats up there, you can actually touch it right here and you won't even get burnt. If you use a torch, this whole thing would be hot all the way down. I can already smell it. But this is a solid piece of steel. Usually if you do this on a bolt, like a exhaust bolt or something, it takes about 4 to 6 seconds and it's white hot and you can run that bolt right off. But I've never actually tried to heat up something solid like this before, so we'll see how long this one takes.
It's getting nice.
You ready? See how red hot that is right there?
She moved a little.
Yeah. The problem is I'm moving this whole bench. It doesn't do anything until you press the button in. You can actually touch that when the button's not pressed in.
I mean, I'll stand up on the bench if you want. I got a little bit of ass behind me.
Whew.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's not working.
Alright, so the boss is taking the spindles out of the Toro because they're the same as the ones that are in the X Mark, because tried real hard, we just couldn't get that one straight.
Yeah, that one's not bending the way it's supposed to, so we're just going to order 2 new ones. But in the meantime, we're going to steal these because these are good to go. They're not even, I mean, the bearings and everything are good in these, but we're going to steal these because they're the same part, and we can't run this mower right now anyway. So
look at all that grease.
that's a lot of grease. Billy, go get me a rag.
See, that one's got a wobble to it too.
Got a slight bend to it, but not much at all. Nothing like that other one. So, we now need, oh, that's filled with grease. We don't want that. Alright, I feel like something else fell out of this.
No, I did on the other one because the bottom plate was destroyed.
Okay, now we go with the other one. Okay, so this was the upper bearing that went right in through the top here. And this is the bottom bearing that was under the seal. There's pieces of it. Here's the rest of it. All the ball bearings are gone. They're out of it, like should be in there. This is just the center. So that bearing came completely apart. The funny thing is, bearings didn't fall out. But there is a lot of grease in there. So, ready? There's one right there. There's one of the needle bearings that are like those things right there. There's one of them right there. There's another 2 or 3 in there. And there's a ton of grease in here. So they didn't come apart because they don't have grease. There's the other top ring of the bearing, what's left of it. Yeah, there's like wads and wads of grease in here. So the bearing had just, hang on to this. The bearing had just fallen apart because it's probably the original bearing.
Look, we caught a fly. Caught him in the grease.
Probably just the original bearing, and that's why it came apart. Just from lots of use, because there is definitely enough grease in here, without a doubt. And these races feel really nice, actually. I don't think these races are an issue at all. So, let's just hollow all the way down through. The only thing left in there is the 2 races still, which I can pound them out and pound the new ones in. But all the chunks of bearing are out. So while Billy's sitting there with his boots up, a little mud on the boots. Alright, so here's the deal. I brought up the diagram just so I could show you guys how it's supposed to go, for those of you that don't know. So this is the diagram of how this goes back together. Okay? So you have your bottom seal, bearing, and the race. And then on the top you have the race, the bearing, your shim washers, the nut, and then your cap. That's it. That's all there is to it. This is the diagram for a Toro Grandstand, which is also the same for the Exmark Vantage. They're the same parts, same set, everything's exactly the same. So that's so you guys know how they go back together. Now, here is the new set that comes with it. So there's one of the races and a bearing. They're both the same size bearings. Okay? There's the one for the other end, and here's your seal that goes on the bottom. Okay? Now, the washers, I kept them when I pulled them out. They're right there. And there's actually 2 there, but they're kind of stuck together with grease, and there's the 3rd one. So what you have to do is put in your bottom bearing, your bottom race, your bottom bearing, then you put the seal in there. Then you can do your top race and your top bearing. You slide the caster fork up through, put your 3 washers on, put the nut on, and then tighten the nut down, and then you put your cap on. But the whole process while you're doing this is you have to grease this all the way through. I've seen some people in the past, they just pull these bolts out, put a grease fitting in there, and then just pump them full of grease after they get it all reassembled. You can do it that way. It shouldn't be a problem that way, but I've just never trusted that. I'm not a fan of it. So I pack everything with grease as I'm putting it together. Okay, so this side is back together. Spins around nice. It's nice and snug in there. We put all the new pieces back in. I greased everything on its way up. And then we took the little bolt out of there, put a grease fitting in there. I had Billy pump grease until I seen it come all the way up into the top here. Now we're good to go. I'll put the cap on. We're done. The thing is, and I was just explaining this to Max, is a lot of times in these front casters, there's little bolts in there. Here's one right here. Years ago, mowers always came, especially walk-behinds and stuff, they always came with grease fittings in there. They stopped doing that years ago because they found an issue. People were complaining to manufacturers that their guys would run into stuff and they would break the grease fittings off. Okay, so what they did now is they put those on there, and in the books they recommend that once a year you pull that bolt out of there, you screw a grease fitting in there, you pump it full of grease, and then you take the grease fitting out and put the bolt back in. We're leaving our grease fittings in. I don't think I've ever had one of these break off in all the years I've been doing this. But when you do your once a year service, here's a tip for you guys, okay? Some guys put that grease fitting in there. If you already have them, they put the gun on there and they squeeze the living crap out of it until it comes out the bottom. Well, the problem is you blow that bottom seal out, and then it's nothing but problems after that. It never seats back in there the right way, nothing but issues. So my recommendation to you guys, and what I do, is when you do your once a year adding grease to it, pop this top cap off, pump grease in there until you see it come up to the top of the bolt, top of the nut head here, and then stop. Put your cap back on, and you're fine. Now you're not over pressurizing it, and you're not going to push that seal out the bottom. So now we're just going to do this side over here, and Max's X-Mark should be good to go for his final week of mowing. High pressure inflator blaster with a bunch of cautions, specifications, and operation steps. We don't need any of that stuff. So it comes with the destructions, the blaster actually tube end, the ball valve, pressure gauge, the fill to hook your airline to fill it, a pressure relief, and Teflon tape. Here we go. It shot the camera over. It knocked all them rags and screwdrivers over there, and that bottle went there, hit the mower, pinned off, went under the scrapper, and it's laying right over there by the sprayer. We are taking this gauge out because I have another gauge, and this one actually gives PSI, unlike the one they sent me with it. So we're going to swap that out. Okay, so will the box go flying, or will it just blow a hole through the end of it? You ready? You might want to stand over there so you can see it, because here you'll lose it in the camera quick. 3, 2, 1.
Well, we blew the tape off the outside of it.
That thing went flying. I can't hear anything. This is going to be so much fun.
I can't hear anything.
We're going to have
See, they always say it, boys never grow up, we just get different toys.
That's right, baby. We're going to have so much fun with this thing.
Billy can't hear. My hearing's gone.
Billy had a mild heart attack.
I did.
Kind of hit him in the chest.
I'll try to get the footage off the camera that's up there on the wall, but there's no sound to it. But we were sitting there, and I was like kind of making a joke. We forgot to grab the camera, and I was like, say hello to my little boom! And I just hit it. Scared the crap out of Billy. Max and I were dying laughing. Billy was dying laughing. It was a good time for all. I didn't like this gauge, so we changed it out to a regular PSI gauge, which I can now see how much pressure's in it. Better than this junk thing that came with it. So we got the half moon thing here. We'll show that in a future video. We'll see you guys later. This is a family channel. Bye. Okay, so we just sent Billy out to mow the back part of the shop. It's pretty big back there. We sent him out to mow that with the X-Mark just so we can make sure everything is okay on it. We've rebuilt these before. We know everything's okay on it. But we sent him out there because when he's done mowing, we're going to put you guys in the mount that's on the top of the truck here that I use for snow plowing. And I'm going to stand right there in the entrance to the bathrooms. I'm going to stand there with the BEAD blaster, because when he comes up here, it's kind of tight fitting through here in between the truck and the wall with the mower. So he'll slow down right about here. And when he comes up the ramp and slow down right here, I'm going to hit him with the BEAD Blaster. And you guys will get a full view because the mount will be right there on top of the truck. So stay tuned.
Aiming up at the door.
Okay, we are gonna end the video right there because we only have like 12% of the camera, but we found a couple more things we got to shoot out of this thing. So, we got a Gatorade cap stuffed in the end of there with 100 psi.
Do I push it forward?
Yeah, make it happen. Full send. Where'd it go? Oh, you hit the door? Alright, fill it up again. We're going golf ball this time. Okay, so that was a fail, but now we have a golf ball, so we're going to give this a shot.
Oh.
Okay, so the only way to do this is to shoot it like straight up, otherwise it's going to fall off. So
Wait. Hold on. Let me put on some.
Gotta put on the Vipers first.
watch it come down and land on one of our trucks and break the window.
Wipers on for safety
Okay,
protection.
ready?
Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
I have no idea where that went. Oh, there it goes. It's bouncing. It's bouncing. All right, that was pretty cool. I don't know how much of that you guys saw, though, because it was goner. Okay, so that's the end of today's shenanigans. We'll definitely find more things to shoot out of there, without a doubt. So we'll find more stuff to use that for. It's not just for tires. It's also for fun. We'll see you guys tomorrow.